Hi, Andrea here with the James Kennedy Public Library, and I am going to be sharing with you the Creation Station craft for July. So the craft for July is going to be a butterfly spinner. So as you can see, this is my butterfly spinner. So it's made with craft sticks, some string, and some butterfly templates there. And you can either use your finger to twirl it, or you can use a breath of air to spin it. So just like that. So that's our butterfly spinner. So when you come to grab this kit from the library, it will be in a red envelope. Those how-to instructions are going to be stapled to the outside of that envelope. And then inside, you're going to find those craft sticks, so those popsicle sticks, a piece of string, and this is actually kite string, 2 butterfly templates. You could also turn it into a moth if you'd rather have a moth spinner. And then you're also going to have this little sheet of like these glue dots. Okay, so there's going to be 4 of those. So those are going to be the basic supplies to complete this kit. There are going to be some additional things that you're going to want to have: some scissors to cut out that butterfly or moth, glue to glue it onto the string. Tape is going to be helpful to for a couple of different things, and I'll show you that in the video. And then also some coloring supplies, so markers or colored pencils or crayons there. Okay, so to get started, the first thing that we want to do is assemble that frame. So when it comes to the frame, I do have glue dots in the kits, and those will work really well. If you do want it to be a little bit more secure, like as you can see, mine kind of wiggles just a little bit, you can put that tape on the back to help secure it. The other thing that would work really well for this craft instead of the glue dots is to use a hot glue gun. If you have one at home, you can certainly use that. That is going to help it hold up, be a little bit more sturdy. So the first thing we're going to do, like I said, is we are going to create that frame. So we're going to grab our glue dots and our popsicle sticks, our craft sticks, and we're going to start by putting 1 glue dot on the end. There's like a little piece of film that you pull off. It has a little pull tab, and then that will make it so you can stick it to another piece. And you're just going to press and hold that glue dot together for a couple of seconds just to kind of help it secure, get it secured to both of those popsicle sticks. So just like that. So you're going to keep going until you have your frame completed. The reason we want to do this step first is so that if you are using a hot glue, and even if you're using these glue dots, it just gives it time to kind of set up and get those pieces really glued, stuck to each other. So again, I'm just doing craft stick to craft stick here. And you can put them on however you want. If you want to do overlap every other, I'm just kind of putting mine on top. And then complete all 4 of these here. Pull that little pull tab off. I have 1 more glue dot. And it's going to go right here. Okay. So as you can see, a hot glue gun is going to work really well, but these glue dots are great too. So I'm just going to press and hold for a few minutes. And so at this point, if you wanted to add some tape to whatever side is going to be the back of your frame, that is going to be helpful as well. If you want to just add some tape to make it a little bit more sturdy. But other than that, it should be good to go. So we're just going to set that aside so that it can kind of have time to let that glue set up. And then in the meantime, what you're going to start doing is grabbing your 2 butterfly templates, and you're going to start designing your butterfly. So mine, on this first one, I kind of did a yellow, orange, and black butterfly with some brown. For this purposes, I did start a new one with colored pencils because I wanted to see how that would look. So I kind of have a black and green butterfly going on there. Now, the tricky part to this is making each one the same. Okay, so as you can see, you have my design. I started on this one. And so what I would do is I would keep going with those green and brown and black colored pencils to make them look exactly the same. Now, I wanted my butterfly pieces to be the same when it spins. You can do it however you want. If you want it to look like two completely different butterflies, go ahead. If you want them to look exactly the same, that's kind of tricky, which is awesome. It's kind of a challenge to get both of those looking pretty much the same. Or what you could do is, this is what the top of my butterfly looks like, but sometimes when butterflies close their wings, the backside can look completely different. So if you've ever seen the butterfly that kind of looks like an owl, but when it opens its wings, it's actually blue underneath. So you could do a completely different color, or what you think this butterfly might look when its wings are folded in. So like, let's say I wanted to just do a whole, maybe I think his underside of his wings are just all green or all black. And so you could just color this one all black and make that the back. So however you want to do it, there is some creativity here. It is tricky to do both sides the same, but it's also kind of a fun challenge. So this part takes the longest, right? But once you get your butterfly or your moth designed however you like it, then you're going to carefully cut these out, okay? And I say carefully just because you want them to be the same. Now, because we will be gluing them together on a piece of string to make the spinner. Okay, so once you got that, you're going to carefully cut those out. And so just carefully go around the outside there and get your butterfly cut out. I'm just going to do a little bit and then we'll move on to the next step here, because I'll be able to show you how to do that next part. Okay, so see, I'm going exactly along those black, along the line and cutting it very, very carefully. So once you get both of those cut out, then we can go back to our frame. And so the next step is to get that string attached to your frame going through the middle of it so that we can then put our butterfly on top. So for this string, what I would start with is just tying it to one end, in the middle. You do want this string to be as tight as you can get it, because the tighter the better, the more it's gonna spin. Okay, so what I did to kind of get this started is I just tied a knot up at the top. And if this part is too difficult, and so I'm really doing it very, very tight, you could also just tape it to the back. I just find tying it gives you a little bit, and so I'm just making sure, like just pulling both very tight. Okay, and there might be some extra string, that's okay. What you want to do is kind of make it move to the middle. And then for the next part, and I didn't have it tied very tight. So, and if you're having trouble getting it tied, again, this is where some tape would be handy. Okay, so you're going to do the same down here. And again, you want it really, really tight. If you can't get it tied, just use some hot glue or some tape to the back. And you can cut off any excess that you have here. Okay, so I'm just going to use some tape just for the purpose of this video, but most of my other ones are tied, but then I did use a piece of tape to keep it in place. Okay. So put a little piece of tape at the top one, just to make sure it's going to stay in the middle. And I will cut off this little piece of tail because I don't really want to see it, right? Okay, and so it should be going down the middle of your frame, just like that. Okay, any excess you can trim off, and you should have something that looks like this. And then the next part is the fun part, where you make your butterfly spinner. So you take your two pieces, you're going to put glue on the back of one, and then glue side facing up, you're going to slide it underneath your frame, and you are going to center that butterfly on the middle of your string and in the middle of your frame. Then you're going to take your other butterfly, add some glue, and you're going to sandwich the two, lining them up. So you have to be very careful when you're doing this, lining them up so that the string is going through the middle and you're sandwiching the string in between, and that your whole little butterfly spinner is in the center of your frame and in the center of your string. Okay, and so you're just going to kind of rub that together, make sure those two pieces are sandwiched nice and tight. If you have to add some glue to secure any of the edges, you can certainly do that. So that would complete your butterfly spinner. So if you want, you can certainly add, more details. And this step is optional. So there will be some different pieces of like construction paper in the creation station, but you can also use anything that you have at home. If you have some bug or flower stickers that you want to add. Otherwise, I just use construction paper to add some blades of grass. And then I also used construction paper and added a little ladybug. But you could add anything that you wanted. You could do worms, a dragonfly, you could do clouds, you could do grass, anything that you wanted to kind of dress it up. You could also just color your craft sticks or the popsicle sticks with markers to make it a little bit more colorful as well. But this is just what I chose to add to mine, just because I wanted it to look a little bit more 3D with that butterfly in the middle. So this is the craft for July. I hope you enjoy it. Happy creating!